Aram Sustai, pleasure to be here. Good morning. So I'm going to talk about something which is very close to me and to my heart, that is passion. And I'm talking about this because this is something which I have discovered in my life, but it has taken me a long time. Why it's important that we know about the passion that we possess, and how soon should we know about that? So let me start with my personal story. In 1980s, when I was growing up and when I was transitioning from school to university, one thing which was very common and our parents will tell us and will ask us to do is to either to become a doctor or to become an engineer. And we all were kind of pursuing that goal. Fortunately or unfortunately at that time, I couldn't make it to become a medical doctor. But when I think and when I reflect on those moments now, I feel myself very fortunate that I didn't get into the medical college. Because I thought that, and now when I reflect, I think that I did not have the patience, but also I did not have the kind of skills. I ended up in going to another university, and that used to be a university where everyone who were in a way left behind from becoming either a doctor or engineer, they will opt for that university. And when I was taking subjects, after a few years, I discovered that I had a passion for economics. I had a passion for more of a data and evidence. So I pursued that one and started off kind of, studying more books. And I think that has been one of the reasons that today I'm standing in front of you. Because of that passion, I was able to kind of gain the knowledge and become an expert in a particular field. And I think the question is that how we develop and how we identify the passion that we have. I'm trying to use this. Yeah. So I think the question is that how to know your passion, right? As I said, it took me a lot of time to know what passionate I was about. Often we kind of divide the skills that we have into two categories. One is the natural skills, right? The skills that we are born with. Some of us are very good in painting. Some of us are very good in drawing. Some of us are good in math, right? So these are some of the natural skills that we bring with us. But a large, kind of a big part of the skills that we learn, we call it those acquired skills. And those are the skills that we acquire, right? We acquire it through training, we acquire it through education, we acquire it through interactions, we acquire those skills through our experience and our working. And this is, so I think it's really important that when we talk about passion we also try to understand what our natural skills are. Because those are also very helpful in terms of, one is kind of guiding where you should be focusing on, but also that would give you an added advantage of learning a particular skill more easily. For example, I can't do painting, right? That is not my area of work. The second area, and I think the second kind of a factor that you really have to understand is that what kind of a personality you are, right? Often we divide the personalities into two categories. One we call introvert, the other we call extroverts. Now introverts are the ones who often prefer to work in isolation. They want to concentrate, they want to focus on something. And often they are more kind of focused on working on things which they're passionate about, but the approach is that they want to work it alone. Right? The second group is what we call extroverts, and these are the people who are very passionate and who kind of feel very easy to interact with others. They want to work in groups. This is not about like who is shy and who is not, or who is outgoing. Yes, I mean there are some overlaps. Often the introverts perhaps may also feel a bit shy, not to kind of speak in public gatherings. But it's not about that. It's about the approach people take, and it's not that one approach is better than the other approach. But it's good that one know about that personality characteristics, because that would also help you not only kind of identifying how you take your path forward, but also in terms of identifying some of the areas where you would like to focus more. So for example, if you are an introvert and some work would require you to work in groups, I think it's better that you know that and you try to kind of focus on some of the areas where you would like where you think that you have some weaknesses and you would like to improve. And one thing which is very important is to get inspired, right? So if you have got a passion for something, try to know who has excelled in that field. Inspiration is key to me. I have put in the picture the image of Bill Gates, and you would know that how he drew his passion of kind of developing a software company, or developing the codes and to be in the computer kind of world. You know that he was in the Harvard University, right? It's very difficult to get admission into Harvard University, but he has to leave the Harvard University to pursue his passion. So inspiring yourself with by people who have already been in that field or who have already been in that space is quite important, but I think it's very helpful, because often we are more inspired by people who have practiced it, right? Who have kind of demonstrated it on the ground, rather than people who would talk about those things in theory. And then, of course, it's all about then pursuing it. Often we also have, some of us have this issue of what we call procrastination, right? We keep on thinking about something, but we don't take action. I think it's very important that once you know what your passion is, you start working on it. And one of the key areas and one of the key focus areas, especially for you as students, is to communicate. Communicate with your parents, communicate with your teachers. Does not mean that you communicate through kind of written communication, but it could also be communicating, sharing about the work you think you feel proud of. Like maybe, for example, if you are good in math, you share about the work with your parents. You said, I was solving this question, and I thought that it's good, but you also want to engage them. And I think this communication, especially with your parent, is very important, especially for students. As for example, in my case, if I would have those communication with my parent early in my life, perhaps my path would have been much more smoother than the way I did it. And engage. By engaging, I means to engage with the community. So if you, for example, are passionate about technology, engage with the community. And engagement does not mean that you only engage in person or physically, but engagement could also be through through online platforms. Like I learned a lot from these different videos which are available there, or the different information which is available online. So you really have to engage. And because this is how you would learn. You would learn very limited knowledge from the books that you read in your university or in your school, or even from your teacher. Sorry, but you would learn a lot when you engage with the community. And finally, it's, as I said, you have to practice it. You should not wait for a few years to go by, or you don't have to wait for a particular moment. You really have to start working on it. I've been kind of, encouraging my own kids, my daughter and my son, is that if they are passionate about something, they should just start working on it now. If you are passionate about, let's say, you want to become an engineer, start working on it now. There is so much of knowledge and information they're available online that you don't have to wait for a university degree or other things. So this is what I had to present to you. In fact, as I thought that, I would share with you my story, but I would emphasize that, identify your patient, work around your patient, and patient is something where it's not only about the work, but the work that you enjoy, and that is the key to success. Thank you very much.